Sunday, we thought of doing it today so that it will be convenient for all the people who are working to join on board and attend this webinar. Before we proceed with this webinar, we will have a brief introduction about the webinar by our Director of the Institute, Dr. M. Jagan Mohan Reddy, sir, who will be just giving a brief glimpse about this webinar.
Madam, join avutanu chudu.
Nenu chustanu.
Yeah, good morning to all. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you for your prompt response. And I welcome all the participants from different parts of the southern India, from different client departments of our EI Hyderabad. I welcome the speakers of today's webinar, Dr. Padmaja Rahula, Principal Scientist, Kisan, as well as Ms. Mahalakshmi Sarvanan, Founder, Women Entrepreneurs, Women as a Catalyst of Change, as well as our EA faculty and other distinguished guests and participants. Shortly, Dr. Sanjay Kalikar, Joint Director, Extension Training, Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Government of India, as well as another Joint Director, National Research Center on Gender Studies, Dr. Poonam Tiwari, are expected to join within a short time. And I congratulate all the women folk, especially the women who are toiling, contributing relentlessly for improving, sustaining, supporting their families, as well as good morning, sir. Good morning. Please join sir today's webinar. Oh, we have sent, sir. Again, I will send it now. Thank you. Sorry, we are also expecting the director of Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Government of India is expected to join for this webinar. Management, yes, sir.
Okay. Please stay online, friends. Sorry for this interruption. We just received a call from Government of India.
Who are relentlessly contributing, not only at a household level, not only at a community level, not only at a national level, and even the culminating efforts of all the women involved in agriculture are significantly contributing at a global level. So on my personal behalf, as well as from the fraternity of EA Hyderabad, we want to congratulate all the women folk who are toiling day in and day out in the rural areas for their immense contribution in different forms for the development of agri and allied sectors. As we know, the 15th October is a very auspicious day. A day we recollect the immense potential which has been unleashed, showcased by the women in general and in agriculture particularly. And we feel proud that the EI Anand recently has organized an event to commemorate the contributions of the self-help groups managed by the women, especially at Anand, in collaboration with the Directorate of Extension, Department of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Government of India, wherein they could felicitate good number of farm women. It is our bare minimum respect for the women to honor and to felicitate them. The minimum thing which we can do that in the form of felicitating. So I also congratulate E.I. Anand in that connection. Sir, Poonam madam as well as Bhatia sir, are you available? So I think they may join shortly.
Sir, I'm available. I'm available.
Yeah, madam. Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. With a short
I'm
notice.
also there, sir.
Yeah, Bhatia sir. Good morning. Good morning to
Good
Poonam
morning,
madam.
sir.
So I am congratulating you for organizing an event of mega scale at EI Anand, where we have also witnessed how beautifully it has went on, that program, how you have felicitated and honored the good number of women who contributed immensely for the development of the society in general and agriculture in particular. So I congratulate the Department of Extension, especially National Center for Gender Resource Studies of Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, as well as EI Anand. And in that context, we are also feel responsible for this event by organizing this webinar on two important topics. One is on cultivating change, bridging socio-economic and technological gaps for women in rural India, followed by interaction, as well as rural entrepreneurship in India, women as a catalyst of change, which also follows the interaction with the participants. Two eminent speakers have been identified, and I once again welcome Bhatia sir as well as Poonam madam and all our distinguished other guests and speakers, as well as the participants from different parts of southern India. And agriculture development is the most important primary source of income for almost 70% of India's households. With the majority of India living in rural regions, the importance of agriculture cannot be undermined. Approximately 60% of the Indian population works in agriculture and contributes about 18% to India's GDP. Almost 80% of women are engaged and depend on agricultural development in rural India. Thus, women contribute to agriculture in many ways that include women comprise 33% of the agricultural labor force and 48% of the self-employed farmers in India. With growing urban migration by men, the agriculture sector is being managed by women. Women contribute to agriculture through multiple roles as cultivators, entrepreneurs, and laborers. About 60 to 80% of the food produced in India can be attributed to the efforts of rural women. Rural women are also engaged in allied fields including livestock rearing, horticulture, post-harvesting operations, agro or social forestry, fishing, etc. Most labor-intensive manual operations in agriculture such as cattle management, fodder collection, milking, threshing, winnowing, etc. are performed by women. So the community management role played by rural women helps ensure the dissemination of information and extension at the community level. In a patriarchal society, women, particularly in rural India, face constraints in academic activities due to gender discrimination and archaic social norms. They are used for unpaid menial jobs, and they have little or no access to education, healthcare, or other basic amenities. Empowering rural women through productive employment and ensuring gender equality contribute to inclusive economic growth. This can be the backbone for achieving poverty reduction and food security. In this connection, it is I again salute all the women in the rural areas who are supporting and contributing immensely for the development of the nation. And thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving us a brief about the webinar. Now, may I request Dr. Manish Bhatia, sir, to please give us a message? Dr. Manish Bhatia?
Okay, meanwhile,
Good morning, sir.
yeah, good morning, sir. Good morning.
My regards to all EI Hyderabad and all the participants for joining this and organizing this webinar. I would like to thank you for organizing this program at our request. I would like to say that the role of women in agriculture has already been highlighted by Dr. Jagannath Reddy sir in its inaugural address. I would only like to say that as our Honorable Prime Minister has duly said, the time is there to not only work for the inclusive growth of women in agriculture or any other sector, but also work towards women-led development. If we have to move towards the vision of 2047, then we have to work in that direction. So a lot of work is required to be done. We have to address the gaps which exist, especially in the field of digital area. So the focus of this year's International Women's Day was also on bridging the digital gap. So because we all know that once we bridge this digital gaps, we provide access to a lot of resources to women, whether they are in the field of agriculture or any other areas. And the future lies here. Besides, I would like to also highlight that we all know that there are a number of beneficiary-oriented schemes of the central government, the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. So we have to create awareness and we have to see that all the targeted beneficiaries, the women beneficiaries, take advantage of that. So we have to work in that direction. Secondly, we have to work towards this replication of success stories. We have already seen, we have released a book on the occasion of Mahila Kisan Diwas at EI Anand, the program which Dr. Jagannath Reddy was highlighting. In that, we have brought about 101 success stories across India in the field of agriculture and allied sectors. So the need of the hour is to disseminate the good practices, that are there, and we have to find what are the best local solutions available. Whether for that the role of each and everyone who is in the implementation at these who are at the implementation level to see to it that this happens. So this is what I would like to say, and we have to see to it that we work towards the vision of Honorable Prime Minister which is for the women-led development, because the Honorable Prime Minister very well recognizes the role of women, whether it is in the field of agriculture or any other sector. Dr. Jagan Mohan Reddy has already highlighted that. So all our efforts, whether the current or the future, should work in that direction. With this, I would like to pause my remarks for today's session right now. Thank you, Jagan Mohan Reddy. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Bhatia, for highlighting the crux points to achieve for the Vision 2047, that is women-led development. Thank you, sir. May I now ask Dr. Poonam Tiwari, madam, to give her message?
Namaskar, sir. Namaskar, madam, and namaskar all delegates who are attending this program. Thanks a lot. May I audible there, because I just want a small.
Yeah, you are very clearly audible. You are audible.
Thank you. First of all, my boss Bhatia sir has informed a lot about the women in agriculture, how she is working and all. I just want to say a small quote. The small quote is that if the man farms, a family eats, and if a woman farms, the community eats. That is a general slogan which we are talking nowadays. What is happening when we talk about a women farmer? We know that the whole family, whole community is getting helped by her own approach towards the whole sustainable agriculture, about her understanding about her whole family thing. So when we talk about the Mahila Kisan Diwas, it is really a privilege for us, because 18 we are celebrating Mahila Kisan Diwas to just recognize and give her the credibility which the women wants as a farmer. We are just highlighting her success. We are just taking this platform. We are just celebrating the state to give that women what she wants, what she deserves, and how she is contributing in agriculture, in the food security, in the nutrition security, and the whole security of a country as a whole. When we see on the global stage, also the women farmers are there, and they are contributing extensively for the agriculture. You all have heard a lot of data, a lot of status of women, but I how our ministry is progressing on that aspect. We are working for gender mainstreaming. I always, on all stages, I always say we are talking about gender mainstreaming. We are not going for the parallel hierarchies. We are going for the area where the women is getting equal responsibility, equal role, equal powers, and equal access to resources and all contributions and ownership, just like a man. So we are working for the mainstream her in the agriculture sector. And really, I'm thankful to Jagan Mohan Reddy sir, also director sir, because he supported us when we requested him to attend our program in virtual mode, because that was the complete collaboration which was showing that the agriculture ministry is working across the country, and all the people who are involved are really dedicated for the cause of the women. Because that was a weekend, that was a Sunday, and I just requested, it was just a general request, and really sir was ready to attend the program. So that is a very big thing, because that was the day, because it happens on even on Sunday or on a day of whichever it's a holiday, we always have this, because the day has the significance. The 15th October has the significance. So we always try that the national level program maybe should be on 15th, and then a series of events may happen. For example, EI is doing it now, then Manage is also having a program, Wamnicom has also worked a program. The states have organized the program in 16, 17, and so it is going on like an event, a series. So I am really thankful, and I'm really thankful to all the delegates who have joined here for the cause of the women here. Speak about the women agriculture through the ministry's lens. We find that the women are getting their due benefits in all the schemes. We are not having any specific scheme in the department. We are having specific scheme with the Department of Agriculture, Research and Education, that is here, but not with the Department of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare. But still, we are working through all the schemes that women are getting benefited. Either it is a PM Kisan security mission, or it is a mission for integrated development of horticulture, or either a seed program, a village seed program, or even Atma. So I always tell that we just want to have an understanding about women, that how the women agriculture is working, what we should be clear about when we are talking to a farmer. Because now I always talk, I've started stressing on the gender sensitization thing, because you are all the delegates, I think you all may be posted in some of the other places at Hyderabad, other places. So you may be knowing and understanding how we have to deal with the women. So I just be as more sensitive towards women when we are talking about women in agriculture, when we are reaching her. for the benefit of women and also for the benefit of the society. With these things, thanks a lot for giving me a platform and to just reach out to the people. And anyone who wants to contact me, you can contact me. I'm sending my WhatsApp email ID on the chat. You can contact me because I'm working as a joint director, women program, and it is my work to do with the women agriculture. So I'm just putting my email ID in the chat, and anything anyone has to convey something can mail me. So thanks a lot, director. So thanks a lot, Preeti, man, for giving me an opportunity of your so good program. Thank you.
Madam, muted.
Hello, can you all hear me?
Not audible, madam.
Can you all hear me?
Yes, madam. Now you are audible.
Oh, Dr. Poonam Tiwari, madam, did you hear me thanking you?
Ma'am, right now I can hear. Earlier the voice was not coming here.
Okay. We just saw that it got muted automatically. Sorry for that. I would like to thank Dr. Poonam Tiwari, madam, for highlighting the role of women in various sectors and the need to celebrate their success. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us on the webinar. Now we have Dr. Sanjay Kalikar, sir, from Government of India, another official. Sir, if you are there, please come on board and give us your message.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes, sir, you are clear.
Audible and visible also.
Yeah, visible also, sir. Thank you.
Okay. No. Good morning. Good morning to all and best wishes for the Navratri. Yeah, Hyderabad is organized webinar on women as a change agents to steer the rural economy of the nation. As all of us are well aware, there is from the ancient period, the role of women in a rural economy is well recognized. In every field, the contribution of women is always recognized. If you see, now we are celebrating the festival of Durga, Navratri. That is the festival of women. We celebrate women and we perform the puja of Durga Devi. That is the one woman. And in also in our home also, we perform the Navratri in that manner. From ancient period, the contribution of women like Jhansi Rani, then Bachendri Pal, Kalpana Chawla, Indira Gandhi, now currently the President of India, Draupadi Murmu, is well recognized. So contribution of women in all the sectors, not only in the rural economy, throughout the world, in every field, is very important. And in the agricultural sector, every work related to agriculture is performed by the women. More than 80% of the work in every field is that contributed by the woman. 2 days back, we have celebrated the Women's Day, National Women's Day on the 15th October, and now Mahila Kisan Diwas. So in that also, we have seen that from the Gujarat, more than 600 women were participated in that program, and that was the excellent program. Now EI Hyderabad is celebrating that Mahila Kisan Diwas. It is well and good step toward the Mahila Kisan Diwas, and EI Hyderabad is celebrating the program. I wish all the best for this program. Already Bhatia sir and Poonam sir, madam has highlighted the importance and the work done by the Ministry of Agriculture in the field of as a National Gender Research Unit is an independent unit in our ministry. Poonam Tiwari is coordinating there, and as he appealed, all the participants, more than 50 participants participated in this webinar. If they have any query or they have any questions, they can quote, and Poonam Tiwari will answer that question. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for remembering the laudable women of India and also for your greetings on the auspicious occasion of Navratri. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Friends, with this, we move on to start the webinar.
Yeah.
We have our first speaker, Dr. Padmaja Ravula. Madam, are you there?
Yes, very much there.
Yeah. We'll just see her on screen. Madam, if you come on video, we can see. Yeah, thank you, ma'am, for coming on screen. Friends, before I hand over the session to Dr. Padmaja Ravula, a brief introduction about her. Dr. Padmaja is a principal scientist at the International Crops Research Institute for the Semi-Arid Tropics, which is popularly called as ICRISAT. She leads two lead clusters at ICRISAT, that is Gender and Youth Cluster and Knowledge and Capacity Development Cluster. Madam is a sociologist by training and education with an ardent interest in research on gender in agriculture. She has over 20 years of interdisciplinary, quantitative and qualitative research experience on issues related to gender, nutrition, social capital, and empowerment of women, men, and communities. She has a unique competence of training in nutrition research as well as sociological research. Her research institutes are building the evidence base on gender in agriculture, empowerment of women using micro-level data from India in understanding the agriculture nutrition linkages in the semi-arid tropics with a gender perspective. She is well versed with and is a practitioner of PRA tools and methods. She had contributed to the development of several research papers and journal articles and impact series, policy briefs, conference papers. She had edited books, research bulletins, and papers in edited books. She is a creative thinker and therefore also interested in bringing out non-conventional or non-academic but interactive products like timelines, video documentaries, visual tools for data collection and analysis. Dr. Padmaja is a visiting scientist at Cornell University at the Dyson School of Agriculture and Economics, where she worked on issues related to nutrition, agriculture, and women's empowerment. She serves as a guest faculty at the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, for the postgraduate program on agri-food business since 2018. Dr. Padmaja Ravula is a PhD in Humanities and Social Sciences with specialization in sociology from Indian Institute of Technology, Mumbai, that is IITB. She is a gold medalist for her master's degree in Human Development and Family Studies from Professor Jaishankar, Telangana State Agriculture University. This is a very brief stint about Dr. Padmaja Ravula. Madam, we welcome you to EI on board for this webinar, and we are eagerly awaiting to listen from you on the topic cultivating change, bridging socio-economic and technological gaps for women in rural India.
Thank you, Madam Preeti. And I also would like to take this opportunity to actually thank all the audience who is available today online, and especially to Dr. Jagan Mohan Reddy for giving me an opportunity to be on this panel and contribute to the discussion on this important event. A lot has been said about me, and I'm really overwhelmed by that. But thank you for that long summary that you have given about me. Now, before I actually start my presentation, I would also like to mention that all the previous speakers who have spoken about women and then the opportunities, the constraints that women face, as well as how women were able to convert those constraints into opportunities. So we've heard about that, and we know the power and potential of women. So having said that, with that background, I would like to go on to my topic today. And once again, thanks to everybody, to all my previous speakers and to the audience for having me on board this event today. Now, just for the sake of having a better internet connection and no disruptions, I would close my video when I'm presenting and while I share my PowerPoint, okay?
Madam Paina.
So I hope everybody can see my screen.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Information. Yeah. So once again, good morning and welcome to this session on occasion of celebrating the Mahila Kisan Diwan 2023. Now the topic given to me is cultivating change, And this includes bridging the socio-economic and technological gaps for women in rural India. Yeah. So as you all know, I think many of us are also aware, the theme of this year's Mahila Kisan Diwas is millets empowering women and providing nutrition. Now, why this theme was coined was 2023 has been declared as the International Year of Millets, and I think India had a great role to play into having this year as the International Year of Millets. And hence, to match with that, the Mahila Kisan Divas is also around the theme of nutrition of millets. And therefore, this year's theme is empowering women and providing nutrition to all. So given that background, you can see that in my presentation, I would be talking a lot more about nutrition, though I would be touching on other aspects. And also would like to remind everybody that given that we have only about 30 to 45 minutes for the presentation, I'm just sharing with you a few insights. There are many more issues that we can talk about, and there could be some issues that I have not intentionally mentioned in this presentation, but that does not mean that they are not existing. With that disclaimer, I actually want to ask this question. Why should we celebrate Mahila Kisan Divas only on 15th October every year? I just came back from an international gender impact platform conference, a global conference that was happening in Delhi from October 9 to 12. And there we all debated and said, why? Why only one day is Mahila Kisan Divas? The entire year is Mahila Kisan Divas because women work all 365 days, whether it is farming, it is livestock, it is aquaculture, it is taking care of the domestic responsibilities. So they're always there with their arms, with their instruments, with their knowledge, with their intergenerational knowledge that you have, always trying to ensure that everybody in the family has enough food to eat and they're all well nourished. So that's why we thought instead of saying 15th October as a year, as a day for Mahila Kisan Divas, but let's keep in spirit that all 365 days, it's actually a day for Mahila Kisan. And then there's another important tag or a thought that has been emerging this since the 2 years, and that talks about which the previous speakers had also alluded to, where we talk about inclusivity. And so that's why even this year, World Food Day, it was said that leave no one behind. So we would like everybody to be included in this. All women, men, young girls, boys, communities, those in conflict, those who are under drought-like conditions, those who are in crisis, everybody should be included in our efforts to ensure a healthy, um, a healthy and safe life for everybody. And that's when it comes to connecting the dots, connecting agriculture and allied sectors, nutrition, health, empowerment, everything together. So with that little background, I'd also like to just mention before I go into actually talking about the bridging the gaps. Let us all recognize that we are in a need of transitions and transformations. Now, nutrition transition is happening. At one point of time, we were all like, you could see more of underweight or undernourished population, but now you're also seeing overweight, obese populations also. So there is a nutrition transition that is happening. There is an economic transition that is happening. There's social transformations that are happening. Agriculture and food systems are transforming. At the same time, gender relations, gender dynamics is also transforming. So you see, we are now in an era of transitions and transformations. So let's remember that. Food and nutrition security continues to remain a critical issue. Yes, even though we have increased productivity levels, there is enough food grain that is provided so that nobody can go hungry. Even then, let's remember food and nutrition security is a challenge. So hence, what we should be doing, we should envision transforming our agricultural systems in order to transform our nutrition and health. And to do this, to get to this transformation of the agricultural systems, we need to engender the massive transformations. Whatever transformations we are thinking about, we need to ensure that these are engendered. And when I say engendered, that means we don't look at only women. We look at women, we look at young boys, young girls, we look at boys, we look at older people. So we look at everybody along the entire life cycle, so that how can these massive transformations that we are envisioning and aiming can help make a better place to live. And for this, another condition is that all sectors need to talk among themselves, whether it is the agriculture sector, whether it is the farmers' welfare sector, whether it is the Department of Women and Child Welfare, whether it is the water sector. Everybody needs to talk together. We need to have a holistic approach at all levels. It could be right from policymakers to the grassroots level. So that kind of a convergence had to happen so that we have nourished communities, safe communities, peaceful communities, individuals, and also we can ensure that all the institutions that are needed for this transformation are in place and working and functioning effectively and efficiently. So let me ask, though I said engender is not just women, but we all know that, there has been, like when we talk about the gender dynamics, we have talked about men. So not recognizing, we're not saying that men are not important, but why do we have to talk about women? And I think this cartoon actually tells you everything, because so far we've said whatever women does is like the given. Yeah. And this cartoon very well shows that, they say, oh, she doesn't do anything, or she's just a housewife. But then even those roles of a housewife, the reproductive roles of a woman are very, very important to sustain a family, to sustain a household, to sustain a community at large. And also, you can see that there are many social and cultural norms. Many of these are rigid and oppressive for women. It's not that men don't have face these social cultural norms, they do. But when compared to men, women have a lot more norms that they have to face or which they have to accept. And this could be sometimes very rigid for women, sometimes they could be oppressive for women. Then next is look at the literacy levels. We all know that even though we are now making good progress, still the literacy levels continue to be low, especially in rural areas. And women play multiple roles and these are ignored. And there are many more constraints. And that's the reason why we need to talk about women. Also, women are vital for food security, especially in developing countries where food is more scarce to begin with. They have different multiple roles, and all of these put them at the center of food security more than any other group in the society. And both as farmers as home managers, women determine, the feeding habits, the dietary patterns, and nutritional and food security status of their household. So as you can see, they have multiple roles to play, and there's a very kind of like strict normative constraints that these women face, and hence we are focusing on women. Now, why millets? Because they said millets empowering women for nutrition. That's the theme of the Mahila Kisan Diwas. Now, why do we talk about millets? Now, millets are a crop that can withstand climate change. So they can grow in any in a very adverse condition, also requiring very little water in climatic conditions when no other crop can thrive. Maybe millets can be grown. Second, millets are also called as the women's crop. Why? Because most of the activities for the cultivation of millets is done by women. The millets are also the powerhouse of nutrients. Okay, so they are very rich in the micronutrients, especially aside from energy and protein. So this makes them more important. Why we call them as a women's crop? Because women are responsible for food and nutrition security at the household level. Now, women also, since generations, you can see that 20 years before millets were grown more, but now you can see rice and wheat and other crops have taken over millets. So there is still technology that is there, the seeds or the knowledge that is there in the hands of women. So that generational or intergenerational transfer of information, of knowledge, of seeds still happens through the women. And that's why they're called as millets are called as the women's crop. The labor needs. As I've already mentioned, women are involved in most of the cultivation processes, plus also the post-harvest processing. And these post-harvest processing is also quite intensive, and that's done by women. And lastly, these millets have the potential to transform the agri-food systems. Yeah, from all angles. You look at carbon sequestration, you look at greenhouse gas emissions. These can be reduced through millet cultivation. They thrive in any adverse climatic conditions, and they are potential good food for the communities. That's why they have the capacity or the ability to transform the agri-food systems. Now, having said this, with this background, let's go to the crux of our discussion today or the presentation. Now, I say Jesse food systems and the three C's. Now, again, this is something that we have to remember. What is Jesse? Jesse is gender equality and social inclusion. That cannot be ignored. Now, the food systems and the three C's. Now, the three C's are climate change, crisis, and conflicts. Now, these will be here to stay for quite a number of years. Climate change is happening. We are already witnessing men and women face the impacts of climate change differently. Yeah, crisis. Now, we thought about the pandemic. The COVID-19 pandemic was one health crisis. But these kinds of crises keep coming up, and there will be more to come in the future days. And lastly, conflicts. Conflicts like war. You've seen the Ukraine war. Now you can see the Israel and the Palestinian war. How does this impact on food? How does it impact agriculture? How does it impact on the gender relations? How does it impact the status of women, the security of the women? So these three, climate change, crisis, and conflicts, have always to be there in any of our debates and discussions when it comes to talk about empowering women, talking about gender equality, talking about social inclusion, because no single place is the same as the other. So we are not a homogeneous group. We are very, very heterogeneous, and therefore inclusivity should be one of the topmost um, criteria that we should be always looking at. And then similarly, the burden of malnutrition. It is not gender neutral, as people think. No, it is not gender neutral. We have examples of where young girls, especially the adolescent girls, and even the adolescent boys, are more undernourished compared to uh, the women in the later years. Or sometimes it could be the reverse, sometimes rural, urban, you can see there is a difference. So it is not at all gender or socially inclusive. It's not neutral. There are lots of inequities in diet diversity. I won't go into depth in that because that would be a different session in itself. And therefore, there is a need for a stronger gender lens in food systems transformation. And how can we empower women? So these are just 4 bullets that I would like to share with you, but there could be many more also. One is give women the access to assets, access to productive resources and technology. Now we are saying we are giving them access to assets. We're giving them financial, access to financial resources. But what happens when there is a change? For example, look at the case of dairy. When dairying was like a household enterprise, like where the households had 1 or 2 animals, cows or goats, then the entire, the entire activity was with the women. She would be selling some milk, she would be saving that money. But once it becomes a commercial activity with the milk collection centers coming up, and as it becomes commercialized, men take over it. So we also need to think about how we can retain those access to assets. That's really a way of empowering women. Then look at the discriminatory gender, social, and cultural norms. We have lots of technology, we have new knowledge, we can build the capacities of women, men, young boys, girls, everybody, the most neglected, the most marginalized, the most vulnerable. We can reach to them and build their competencies, build their capacities. But the biggest barrier is the socio-cultural norms. So how can we think about challenging these normative constraints that women face so that once that constraint is lifted, then everything, you can see that whatever interventions we do will be more sustainable. And then there is no need for government support all the time because things will happen automatically once that particular barrier, the normative constraints are lifted. And the unequal labor burdens and responsibilities. Even in majority, even in the developed countries, not just talking about developing countries, you still see women have the additional responsibilities of household care, child responsibilities, child care responsibilities, feeding the families, aside from contributing to the economic situation of the households. So they contribute to economic, social, because lots of collective action. Now we talk about women SHGs. Let us empower them. Let us involve them in the seat systems. Let us involve them, give them training on X, give them training on Y. So you see the burdens, even the collective capacities of women, they're becoming overburdened also. So how can we come to a balance? So we need to understand that if we really need to empower women, how can we bring about that balance where every individual in the household, in the community has a role to play, and then there is the sharing of activities of the responsibilities. And lastly, violence. Though I won't talk much about it, but violence still exists. Gender-based violence is very, very common in all the developing and the developed countries, and this also needs to be addressed to empower women. Now, I would just like to share a story of Jadhav Devi. The name, I've changed the name, but she's from Rajasthan. Now, to give an example of how the gender and social norms can be sometimes very oppressive for women and girl children. And as you can see from the narrative that I have put up on the slide, see, she has 2 sons and then 4 daughters, but only the sons go to school, even though it is far away from the village, where the daughters work in the fields or also take care of the cattle. So you can see how, like, even though she herself is a woman, she feels so helpless because she cannot send her daughters for secondary schooling, which is far from the village. And also, sending daughters beyond village limits is kind of like a social, no, you cannot do that. Similarly, so with the food, the boys get to eat the food first, then comes the girls. So just to give an example of, like, how these gender and social norms can be sometimes rigid, can be sometimes reinforcing. We have kind of learned to live with these norms, but I think it is time we need to challenge them so that we leave no one behind in the development process. Now look at another example of Bundelkhand in Uttar Pradesh, which is a hotspot of acute water scarcity, extreme marginalization, degradation, patriarchy. That's how you can describe Bundelkhand in Uttar Pradesh. Even now, with so much of technology, you can see that the triple burdens of collecting water, firewood, and fodder still rest with the women. And I would just like to share you an example of a work that we had done in Bundelkhand. It was an integrated watershed program that Kisan had done. But even, we did excellently on the watershed interventions. There's no doubt about it. And it has been lauded by Niti Aayog and all the other agencies, where we have really managed to ensure that there's groundwater recharge, yields have increased. Now farmers can take more than 2 crops in a year, etc. But how much have we done on the gender impacts from these watershed interventions? Very little. So how do we find our way into that black box, as I called? So to understand how the impacts of a technology are from a gender perspective, and if we want to move towards gender equality, we need to adopt a transformative approach. When I say a transformative approach, it is like understanding what are the norms, recognizing those norms, and challenging of how those norms can be relaxed. You cannot remove the norms overnight or in a day, but slowly we can try to see if we can challenge those norms. And then once those norms are relaxed, it becomes kind of like an acceptable thing. Similarly, including women, the responsiveness and participation of women in policy making, in management, need to be strengthened, because we still do not have that, even though we have 2 women in the watershed communities. But then how much of them are empowered that they can contribute or provide input into the decision making of the committees? So we need to still think about that. And also understanding and conceptualizing gender. Gender is not just about talking about men and women. It's more than that. It is the dynamics, it is the relationships, it is the socially constructed relationships that are shaped by many intersecting ties. So you cannot say all women as one group. It's a homogeneous group. No, they are heterogeneous. You have a rich woman, you have an educated woman, you have a woman who is from a marginalized community, you have a woman who belongs to another religion, you have a young woman, you have a woman who is married. And these all forms of social differences must be taken into consideration in any design of a technology or even a program formulation and implementation. I would not go into detail of this because I've already mentioned, like, you need to have a more deeper understanding about the gender dynamics in any intervention. Here I use the case of watershed, but it could be the same in all the other interventions also. Now, we talk about technology. So let me shift my focus to technology. And I'm just presenting one case study of mechanization and feminization. You know that Equisat, along with the Regional Agricultural Research Station, released a variety of machine harvestable chickpea variety called NBEG 47. Now, the main goal of releasing this variety was to reduce the burden on women and free their time, because with this machine harvestable variety, you can use a harvester to harvest the the chickpea, sorry, which mostly is done by women. So free them of the labor, free them of the drudgery of harvesting, so that they can lead better lives. They can contribute to other things. Now, what has happened? As you can see from the picture, who is operating the machine? It's the men. So that's what I'm saying. Once technology comes into picture, it goes away from women. So we need to think about that. How can we bring a technology and put it in a woman's hand that can be used by the women, that can be used by a vulnerable woman, that can be used by a laborer, that can be used by a woman who comes from a landowning community when she's supervising the labor? What kind of technology does she need, and how can she use that technology? So we have to put that technology into the hands of women to empower them. And then once we have the technology, also need to understand, what do women do with the saved time? How are they using it? Are they putting their time back into agriculture, or are they able to do better care responsibilities, or they are able to improve their own nutrition status or their own leisure time? What do they do? You need to understand that, so that then we realize how this technology can actually benefit women and empower them. I've been using the word empowerment, and I'm talking about nutrition so much of the time. And I said we are not a homogeneous group. Now, we also actually implemented a women's empowerment in nutrition index in some locations in Maharashtra, and very interesting results, if you can see. And this is to prove the point on who has access to what, who has more knowledge, who has more control. Now, look at uh, this interesting. I talk about three groups. You have the Veni. The Veni is the women who are in the childbearing age and who have one child. So that was our Veni respondents. We have the MIL, means the mothers-in-law, and the spouse is the spouse of the Veni women. Now look at how women are faring, the Veni women and the mothers-in-law. In terms of food knowledge, in terms of health knowledge, the mothers-in-law fare poorly. But when it comes to agency, when it comes to food agency, when it comes to health agency, when it comes to institutions, look at the mothers-in-law. They are like, almost at the end of the continuum, somewhere more than greater than 0.6%, right? Or like 60% they're there. That means the older women have more agency. And when I say agency, that means they can decide, they can think about the choices. They have the ability to make choices. Whereas the many women who are in the early stages of having young families, yeah, you don't see that kind of a agency that they have. Maybe they have access to those resources. They may also have the knowledge about those resources, but still they do not have the agency to make those choices. Hence, how do we shift these women also to the other end of the continuum, so that they are able to make better choices and they're able to act upon the choices that they have decided for themselves? This is also another more, I won't go into more in depth. So for a sustainable, resilient food system, we need to ensure that everybody has the capacity and access to all kinds of resources and productive assets, and all the actors. It could be like, if you look at a value chain, from the producers to the consumers, to the marketers, to the processors, everybody, we need to enhance their capacities, men, women, and have them access to all the productive resources and the capitals. So I have like 4 strategies. I want to close with those 4 strategies that I think about it, but there could be more, but these are just my ideas. The first strategy is put technology in the hands of women such that it works for them. So understanding what technology for homes, and then what are the underlying gender and socio-cultural norms that are in that particular community or location, and what are the unintended consequences. Like if you give women a technology and you think it is actually benefiting them, but also let's try to be transformative in thinking about what happens when I give this technology. Let's be thinking more in advance. Does it increase her labor burden? Does it increase her time into this, or what does it do? So let's think about the unintended consequences. There could be positive unintended consequences, which we would really like to see more of it. But if we see of any negative consequences, unintended consequences of our intervention, let's try to correct it even before we disseminate it to the farmers. Second is enhancing nutrition knowledge for sustainable nutrition. And this is a very good example which deals with the millets. Millets are a powerhouse of nutrients, we've said. And we also know that, there is limited nutrition knowledge with the women. It could be rural women, it could be urban women, it could be educated women. We all have limited knowledge about nutrition, let us say. So understanding about healthy diets, understanding the consumption of healthy diets, because healthy diets are not a norm in India, at least in India, they are not. So how do we reach there of making that every diet that we eat is healthy? So consumption of healthy diet. Let's give more, enhance the nutrition knowledge, and which will help to reduce malnutrition, both undernutrition and overnutrition. And here's a very good example of what we did in one of our projects where we tried we gave nutrition education sessions for men. First, we started with the men. Then we had the pregnant women, the lactating mothers, the young mothers. Alongside that, we also gave those nutritional education sessions to elderly women, the mothers-in-law, the Anganwadi teachers, and the ASHA workers. And we are seeing a big difference in the knowledge, attitudes, and practices regarding good nutrition in these communities in the tribal regions of Adilabad. A third strategy that we'd say, and whether it's a agricultural strategy, whether it's a water strategy, whether it's a food strategy, whatever it is, let's always have a strong gender lens when we are looking at solutions. So access, as I've said, and utilization, that is, they're still able to use it. Move beyond the instrumental narrative in food security debates. Don't just say that, yes, have a general saying that, yeah, food security has improved, but let's go beyond that to understand where, how has it improved, for whom has it improved, and what are the other challenges that need to be addressed, and address the basic barriers and vulnerabilities. So how do we engage with the communities? That is, the mode of engagement with the communities would help us to address GESI barriers and vulnerabilities. And my last strategy, and I think that kind of like steers also into the next speaker's topic, would be look at alternative strategies to agriculture as a means of livelihood. And that's where comes about agribusinesses, micro enterprises, or an ecosystem for men, women, and youth to, to build their own competences, to be independent, to be more in charge of an entrepreneur. Yeah. So how can we promote agribusinesses and social enterprises for women, for young girls, for youth especially? Because now youth is waning away from agriculture. So which youth wants to be still in agriculture? Who wants to be still in agriculture? And how can we bring them? And how can we talk to them about agriculture being a business enterprise? So we need to think about that as a strategy and look at alternative strategies for to agriculture as a means of livelihood. So this I've already talked about. You need to talk, all the sectors need to talk about it. We need to reshape the food systems so that we refocus agricultural research. We talk about the generational effect so that we capture all that knowledge. We increase the basic awareness about food, nutrition, health, and overall well-being, understanding the rigid social and cultural norms, promoting nutrition literacy, and a special emphasis, which I would say is to be given to adolescent girls and boys, because they are the future citizens. So we need to have them in our understanding, in our program. So think about the adolescent girls and boys and how they can be empowered so that they, the future, they would take the future to a greater heights. With that, I close. So thank you very much for giving me an opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Padmaja. Friends, now it is time for discussion. Madam is open to take questions. If anybody wants to discuss anything in regard to her presentation, you are welcome. Please be interactive. We would like to have some questions.
Was it too much?
No, 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 not at all. Not at all. We do definitely had a different gender lens looking at your presentation and your thoughts and also your examples from ICRISAT. Yes, friends. Are you all there?
I can share my presentation and that can be shared with the
Please.
broader audience. And if they have any questions, they can come back to me later also. Like when they mull over it,
Yeah.
when they think
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, I do understand. We request you to kindly share the presentation, madam, to EI so that we have a WhatsApp group where we had just put all the participants there so that we could communicate with each other. Probably I'll be sharing the same presentation with them. So afterwards, as you said, the after warmth of your webinar session and their thoughts, let them just have a thought and then come back to you. In case if they do not have
Hello,
any.
madam.
Yeah.
Namaste. Hello.
Yes, please.
This is Jyotirmay from Visakhapatnam.
Yeah.
Madam, a focus to little focus we require on the role of women in agriculture, madam. A bit of that kindly just throw some light on that if possible, kindly. To have a few words on role of women in agriculture a bit further. We are in the area of agriculture. We are working on from Atma.
Mm-hmm.
How it is that because being a consultant of agriculture previously I worked also.
Okay.
Role of women in agriculture. Kindly throw some further focus on that, madam.
Okay. So women in agriculture. So you all know that, women
Yeah.
are engaged in, it could be any crop. Yeah, I'm not going being very crop focused, but it could be any crop. But you see, right from sowing
Madam,
till harvest.
millets kindly focus on millets, madam.
Okay, no, yeah, okay. Millets also like anything. As I've said, millets are like a woman's crop. No, you see, because when you're so even the knowledge about millets, the seeds, you know that there are so many rural women in Odisha and in any other in Bihar, in many parts of the country where women have actually safeguarded some of the traditional millet varieties and they have kept them. They have their own seed banks so as to save with them, and those can be now used like the land races and the new variety, the older varieties that were available then, they have still kept them safe, and they have a lot of information or knowledge about how to cultivate those varieties, those varieties of millet. So you can see that women are involved in sowing, they're involved in weeding, yeah, because there is no technology. And women, millets are like the small grains, right? So it is very difficult to have a technology that will harvest the millets. We don't have a harvesting opportunity, a technology, or a mechanized harvesting option for millets. So harvesting has to be done by women. So first of all, like from the sowing has to be done by women, is done by women. The weeding, the water management is done by women. Pest and disease control, in that identifying or even finding that that their field has a pest or a disease infestation, or even it is wilting or whatever it is. The first identification mostly is done by women in many cases, and then that leads to what kind of like measures that they should be taking. So that's it. Then comes the harvesting. Women harvest the millets, as you know, everywhere it is like women who are harvesting the millet crops, post-harvest product practices and production. Now that's something that for millets, women have to spend a lot of time, whether it is like threshing, winnowing, but even after that, even when they want to use it, the seed coat is very thick in some millets, and it is also bitter because it has some tannins. So you need to do a lot of pre-processing. Like after harvesting, you need to do processing, and then only it becomes edible for consumption. That's what women have to do. Yeah. So and along the entire value chain, like, and even cooking, let's see, like if you want to make a bajra roti, you know that pearl millet, the flour cannot stay for more than 4 days. Why? Because it has tannins in it and it becomes bitter after 4 days, right? So you cannot use that flour. So every 4 days they have to get fresh flour. And then making the rotis or the chapatis, they still have to pound it with their hand. They have to make the dough. Not as easy as cooking rice in a rice cooker or making chapatis made of wheat. So it takes extra time and effort to prepare food also. Similarly, you talk about lots now, you're saying integrate millets into your diets. Everybody says integrate millets, let's eat millets. But there are other conditions also, like, when food cooked using millets, when it becomes cold, it becomes harder. Yeah. So you have to eat the food when it is hot, when it is fresh. Now, is that possible in a rural scenario? It may not be. So how do you do? So there has to be research done on the agricultural front where they need to see how those traits can be modified so that even if the food tends to become cold, it can still be edible and it is not as hard as it would be now. So those kinds of research scientists have to do. They might have to do some gene editing or something like that. But for women, yeah, they have to cook fresh, they have to cook before eating. So it takes in a lot of effort. So that's how, in the millets, you see that the role of women at every stage of production, of cultivation and post-processing and consumption, you see women have a very important role to play, and which is
Yeah,
quite
madam,
labor and
promotion
time
part.
consuming.
I'm interested in the promotion of millets part, madam.
Oh, okay. If you're interested
Promotion
in
and
promotion
propagation
of
part.
millets, so there is a lot of now, you can see a lot of startups, and there's also a lot of research by food technologists where now you can make ready to cook and ready to eat products using millets. And I think that is one way of promoting millets, so that women do not have to spend a lot of time in processing because they can come together collectively and prepare these foods. That is one. Second, if you want to cook millets at home, following their traditional recipes and still promote the consumption of millets, then you need to do a lot of awareness campaigns. So social and behavior change campaigns have to be done at every stage because now everybody's got used to eating rice and wheat. It is
Yes,
time
ma'am. Yes,
saving,
ma'am.
it is easy, available in the PDS at a very limited cost. Yeah, 1 rupee a kilogram. Whereas if you have to buy sorghum, it is 16 rupees a kg. So who would want to buy 16 rupees kg, spend 16 rupees for sorghum versus getting rice? So you really need to do a lot of social and behavior change campaigns on the power of millets, the nutritional power of millets. And overnight, you cannot say everybody, every meal will have millets. No, you have to bring about a gradual introduction of the millets
Yeah,
back into
slow
the
change. Oh, yeah.
yeah, and that's where you can think about innovative products. So every time it need not be khichdi, every time it need not be ganji, every time it need not be the roti, but maybe you think about innovative products so that
Yeah,
even young children would
cakes and
start to
all. We
use
are
it.
going for bakery products mostly, ma'am.
Yeah, so let's also remember bakery products cannot be made at the home. So also think about what can be made at the home. Maybe if they're making like ordinary
Nagaraju,
roti, yeah.
Nagaraju.
I have lots of examples, but maybe you can reach out to me and I can share
Webinar
some
program sheet ఒకటి ఇవ్వమనవా?
brochures of ready to cook and ready to eat products using millets.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for answering the question raised by our participant. Any more questions, please? I think they don't have any questions. In that case, thank you so much, Dr. Padmaja. I'm so happy to have you here and talking on the topic that has been given to you. It's been wonderful listening to you with so many examples from all over India, especially the Rajasthan and the Uttar Pradesh ones, where you have really shown how the gender disparities are being done and how the norms are being cultivated from generation to generation, and where our intervention as educationists, academicians, and researchers need to be done to bring women into mainstreaming. Thank you so much, and I hope you will stay for some more time, not to have any questions, but to listen to the next speaker,
Yes.
Ms. Mahalakshmi Sarvanan, who is already there on board and who will be talking on rural entrepreneurship in India, which will serve as a catalyst for change in today's world. Thank
Yeah,
you,
thank you.
Padmaja ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you once again for this opportunity and happy to take questions offline also via email.
Yeah, please give your email in the chat box, madam.
Sure, I'll do that. Okay.
Thank you. And our next speaker, Ms. Mahalakshmi Sarvanan, are you there?
Good
Ms.
morning, ma'am.
Mahalakshmi
Yes, am I
Sarvanan.
audible to you?
Good morning. Yeah, very much audible. Madam, can we have you on video for a few minutes So you said you have an
Ma'am,
issue.
I have a few, like this camera issue, ma'am. Like I'm just trying. I'll have to switch on the devices, and that will be a challenge for me. Just excuse me for today, ma'am.
It's okay. It's okay. There no need,
Yeah.
no issue, ma'am. Well, friends, I'm
Thank
so happy to introduce our next speaker, Ms. Mahalakshmi Sarvanan. Madam is an internationally recognized first-generation social entrepreneur and a TEDx speaker. She was born in Ketti, a small village in the Nilgiris, Tamil Nadu, and she belongs to the indigenous community called the Badagas. She became an accidental entrepreneur with no knowledge in business, and she started her business from scratch. Today, her brand Women Entrepreneurs India has become an internationally recognized brand which supports and encourages women to become entrepreneurs. Her journey started with zero contacts in the industry and has grown into an internationally recognized brand with thousands of women entrepreneurs under this banner, which is called Women Entrepreneurs India. She is a pioneer entrepreneur who helps women start up, reinforce their business roots, and then grow their business. Coming to the experience, Ms. Mahalakshmi has around 18 plus years of experience, 14 years in business, and 4.5 years in academics. Prior to business, Mahalakshmi Sarvanan did her master's in nutrition from Avinash Lingam University in Tamil Nadu and started her career as a lecturer in SRM University and worked for more than 4.5 years, during which she was a teacher and mentor to several batches of students. As an academically inclined person, she had cleared the national and state level exams, namely the Agriculture Research Scientist, the National Educational Test, and the SLET exams, and she is certified associate professor. She is also an SEO specialist and digital marketing strategist and has been instrumental in guiding several businesses to acquire high rankings online. She has taught this technique to more than 100 women entrepreneurs and aspiring students. Her interviews have been featured in the leading South Indian television channels, and she was featured in the Economic Times, Financial Express, and many other regional newspapers. Mahalakshmi Sarvanan facilitated many national programs and webinars across India on faculty development, digital communication, women entrepreneurship, etc. In recognition to her contributions, she has been awarded many a times, the main awards being the Women Achiever Award in 2023 from Chennai Institute of Technology and Nehru Women Excellence Award in 2022 for the category entrepreneurship and making a difference at International Women's Day, and the Outstanding Achievement Award for Women Outstanding Achievement Award for Women Empowerment through Entrepreneurship during the International Women's Day celebrations, and Business Acharya Award 2020 for the entrepreneur category from the Karpaga Vinayaga College of Engineering and Technology, and Inspiring Women Award 2019 and 2020, and many more. The list goes on. So instead of giving the list of awards Ms. Mahalakshmi Sarvanan has received, I would like to invite her to give her a speech on the topic Rural Entrepreneurship in India, Women as Catalysts of Change. Madam Mahalakshmi, over to you. We are eagerly awaiting to listen from you, your experiences as a woman entrepreneur and also in mentoring many entrepreneurs.
Good morning, and thank you, ma'am, for the kind introduction. I think it's such a special day, Mahila Kisan Diwas. We are celebrating all the Mahila entrepreneurs, farmers, and congratulations to EEI for the commendable efforts taken in terms of empowering the rural entrepreneurs and extending a lot of awareness amongst the rural community. So let me go ahead with this session. So is my screen visible, ma'am? Are you able to view the PPT?
Yeah, it is visible, but it's looking on a very smaller note. Can you just enlarge it probably by putting it in the slideshow mode?
Yeah.
Little bit more.
Is it better now, ma'am?
A little bit better, but I think it can become bigger also.
Okay, I have
Somehow
shared
it's
the PPT to your team. If you could share it, that would be great, because
you want us to
I had
share?
shared it with Preeti ma'am onto your email ID.
Yeah. I'll just ask our technical
Let
team
me
to
try
share.
doing entire screen and find out if I can
Suresh, are you there, Suresh? Technical
Madam?
team?
Madam, చెప్పండి.
Chitra, నేను మేడం పీపీటీ పంపిస్తాను. కెన్ యూ ప్లీజ్ షేర్?
మేడం పంపించండి. టీఆర్జీ మెయిల్ పంపించండి.
నేను నీకు వాట్సాప్ చేయనా?
వాట్సాప్ ఓకే మేడం.
ఎందుకంటే మెయిల్
నేను స్టాప్ చేస్తాను మేడం.
Yeah.
I know little bit of Telugu, so let me stop the screen.
Yeah, that's great. That's great because I am sitting in a web conference room and my team is in another room. So I'm just having a
see.
dialogue
Okay.
with them. Anyway, they will be sharing,
right.
madam, if you can stop your
No
sharing.
problem. So meanwhile, let me start the session.
Yeah.
So before I go ahead, let me quickly ask one question from each one of you here. Why rural entrepreneurs, especially women, are facing the challenge? What is the answer to this question? Let us make it quite interactive until the PPT is loaded. So let maybe someone who is ready to answer. Why rural entrepreneurs are not really, into entrepreneurship? What is that stopping them?
Please answer, friends.
Hello, madam.
Yeah, let's make it interactive.
Hello. Hello.
I'm sure EI team should have interacted with a lot of entrepreneurs, especially women in the rural villages. So what is the main reason you think that they are unable to kind of, get into entrepreneurship or scale their rural businesses?
Somebody wants to, yeah, Padmaja madam wants to answer. Yes, ma'am.
Padmaja madam, cheppandi madam.
Yeah, so one of the things why rural women don't want to get into entrepreneurship is
Meeru
because,
voice loga undi madam.
logo uda. No, it's just full.
Sorry if my Telugu is not okay, but still I'm managing.
No, my
Madam,
audio
her
is
voice
full.
is quite clear. Dr. Padmaja's voice is quite clear.
Okay, ma'am, please go ahead.
So the reason why rural women are not getting into entrepreneurship so much is two things. One is access to finance. I think that's one of the main constraint. And the second is the capacities. I don't think
Okay,
all rural women have that kind of a capacity. It could be the capacity to come together, form a collective and become an entrepreneur or even be a single entrepreneur, and knowledge and information. So they do not have the capacity. So lack of capacities, knowledge, information, and like where to source the material from, where do I sell these? So that's why they're not coming forward as entrepreneurs.
Thank you, Padmaja ma'am, by giving us a few information regarding this. Let me quickly ask you one more question. See, you have been telling that finance is a challenge. People collectively working together is another challenge. And there are other challenges also. In spite of the government schemes, in spite of a lot of efforts taken by institutions, both government and private, why is that again a challenge? You have told, see, if it is going to be funding is a challenge, there are government schemes, right? If the collective issues is a challenge, we can bring together a lot of women and we can empower them. So apart from all these challenges, I think the foremost challenge that women has is asking this one question. Maybe it applies to all of us. What's stopping you? This question, each one of us here and also the rural entrepreneurs should ask themselves, what is stopping them? I think that awareness itself is a big challenge. I think only after the mindset comes the other challenges pertaining to rural entrepreneurship promotion. So firstly, if we could enable the growth mindset or the creative mindset or the entrepreneurial mindset in women, I think all the other challenges would be quickly overcome. So let us go ahead with the PPT. So what I believe is that failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. See, I've been into the space of promoting women entrepreneurship, both in urban and rural areas for about 11 years. And prior to which I was a lecturer. So back then I didn't have any knowledge in business, but after marriage, I started my business. And that's when, I started learning about entrepreneurship. And in the initial days, I failed in few of my projects and few of the companies, but understanding that rural women face a lot of challenge because I come from a rural background and I have met a lot of farmers in my early days and in my school days, and I know what are the challenges real time that they face. But now the situations are, the scenarios are different. So it's been, like the advancements in technology, the digital thing, everything is there. But in spite of that, there is again a big challenge, I would say. So for me, failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. So here, when we let people know that failure is just an event, it is not a personal thing. You can definitely overcome this failure by embracing it. I think we have to enable the women to cultivate this type of mindset, because they might start a dairy farm and then probably after 3 months it may not be working well, then they quit. They don't know what went wrong, right? So here we all are there to enable them. That's what they have to understand, that there are people, they have to open up and ask. I think this is a very important issue concerning all the women out there. In fact, when so many entrepreneurs call us from either rural area or urban area, most of the time it is their better halves or their brothers or their, like relatives who call us and tell us that here is a woman who does this product, will you help them in marketing or funding? So why women are not opening up? Why women are not calling people like you or people like us and telling that, okay, ma'am, I'm running a dairy farm, how will you support me? Ma'am, I'm making these food products, how will you support me, right? So firstly, the mindset has to be taken care of. Ma'am, could you please move on to the next slide? Next and next. It might take a few seconds to stream because there might be a lag. But what I have seen, let me tell you one, this is the agenda of the day. I'll give a brief introduction and then go on to rural entrepreneurship, women as agents of change, and finally we'll have a Q&A. Next slide, ma'am. Next slide is just about my thing. You can move on to the fourth slide. So whenever I meet a lot of women entrepreneurs, in fact, in 2015, I met about 4,000 women entrepreneurs in the area of Trichy. Can you imagine 4,000 women are in the community, and most of the entrepreneurs were very bold, like on previous slide. Please go to the previous slide. So most of the women that I met in 2015 in the rural area, I'm talking about the rural area in Trichy. Ma'am, previous slide. They were very bold. They were making products. They were into a lot of food products. They were into, like art related products. They were into beauty products. But the challenge I noticed observing all their products. Yeah, next slide, ma'am. So observing all the products is that when it comes to standardization, see, 4,000 women were there and around 100 women displayed their product. Okay, so when ma'am, no need of agenda. Please go ahead with the women as catalysts of change, or like, the fourth slide, I guess, fourth or fifth slide. So when I met those entrepreneurs in the rural area, the major challenge I found was that they didn't have awareness about how to make the proper packaging of the product, pack it properly, and more about the, like standardization. So many had made pickles, many had, yeah, this slide, please. So many had made pickles, many had a lot of other food products. But when it comes to standardization, the only question that I asked was, see, today I'm going to order a pickle from you, right? So today you're giving me 1 bottle. The next day I need 10 bottles. Do you think you're going to maintain the same standard of taste in all the 10 bottles? The entrepreneurs were literally thinking. So when it comes to standardization, it's a big challenge. And I think there are 2 questions I think is important we have to ask. Number 1 question is that how to catalyze women entrepreneurship in rural India. See, catalyzing entrepreneurship itself is a big challenge, and enabling women to start an entrepreneurship is a very, very big challenge. And how do we create more role models, and especially rural entrepreneurs, is a mega challenge, I would say. But then there are solutions, there are opportunities. And as per the research, all of us know that by 2030, an estimated 30 million women-owned MSMEs are expected to flourish in India, providing employment to nearly 150 million people. This is a very good target. But how soon we can achieve this target? How can we empower a lot of women entrepreneurs so that it improves the economy and also it improves the financial independence of the women? Ma'am, next slide. So let us figure out, all of you being a part of EEI, I'm sure you know why rural entrepreneurship is required. Of course, I just give you a couple of points and then we'll move on to the next slide. I need more of a discussion. I'll quickly finish my PPT and let us make the session very interactive. So, of course, all of us know the main aim of rural entrepreneurship is to generate employment. So, when we say entrepreneurship, this term is gender neutral. Whether a woman or a man, he or she is supposed to give quality product, quality service. Why are we specifically talking about women entrepreneurship? So when I started women entrepreneurs in India in 2013, no one asked, why did you coin the term women entrepreneurs India? But today, why people are asking, why are you using this term? I am really happy that in future, if this women entrepreneurs, highlighting women entrepreneurs is removed, I think that will be good, because I foresee a great opportunity for all the entrepreneurs irrespective of the gender. So when I started, there were no other similar forums or social enterprise. I started in 2013. So when I started, there were no similar ones. So I coined this name. But today, many have started, similar forums. But then what I foresee is in due course, maybe in the next 30 years, India has about 14% of women as entrepreneurs, in India. But I think it will take at least 30 years to reach at least 50% of women as entrepreneurs in India. So for which all of us collectively have to do a lot of effort. Over the past 10 years, I could see so many women are ready, but then they are facing a lot of challenges, both in terms of their own and also the environmental challenges. So of course, all of us know that for generating employment, to remove income disparity, and for a balanced regional development, and to promote the creative heritage and reduce the migration of villages and reduce the development of slums, and many other factors are there to promote rural entrepreneurship. Next slide. Now let us look at the challenges that entrepreneurs, especially women, are facing in the rural areas. We are celebrating Mahila Kisan Diwas today, but then if you look at the challenges that those entrepreneurs in the rural area face, there are like so many challenges. And we know that out of 100 entrepreneurs in India, only 7 are female, and that report is by MasterCard Index of Women Entrepreneurs. So one of the major challenge I would say is that, I think even before I spoke, a few other speakers spoke about technology empowerment. Absolutely, I think technology empowerment is a very, very big challenge. One thing is that understanding government schemes. Of course, all the government schemes data is available online. Let me tell you, Udyam Aadhar registration is available online, but people don't even know that they don't even have to pay any fees to register on Udyam portal. They are still dependent on middlemen. So that kind of the lack of knowledge of the government schemes, and they don't know how to approach the bank. They are they have the mindset that okay, even if the government is giving, the bank will deny. What is the first step you're taking as an individual? I think we have to tell them that unless otherwise you take an individual effort, you're not going to excel in business. That kind of a push we have to give from EEI and also from other experts there. We have to let people know that okay, see, government is offering the government schemes. What have you done in order to approach the government, and what have you done in order to avail the government schemes? Have you prepared the report? Have you understood more about the market research? Have you understood more about the FSSAI component for the food products? Do you know what GST is? Do you know what this is? Like really important. Now there are a lot of resources available in regional languages also, and post the pandemic, I think many people are using the digital devices and many are able to get a lot of information. So whether the entrepreneur herself is taking the first step to understand the government schemes before depending on the authorities. And then patriarchy issues, I think it still exists in many rural areas. Access to credit, yes, 100%. And digital adoption, digital technologies and digital literacy. See, I've been a digital expert since 2009. So since then, I've been able to promote my company and my business through digital technologies. So recently, one of the rural entrepreneurs gave me a call and she told me that, ma'am, I'm into this, beetroot malt powder. I think it's a health mix, right? So when I asked her, she told me that, ma'am, I've done the FSAI. I don't know how to market it. So I asked her, do you use WhatsApp? She said, yes, I use WhatsApp. Have you tried WhatsApp business account? She said, no, I didn't try WhatsApp business account. I asked her, do you know what is a catalog? She said, no, ma'am, I don't know what is a catalog. I've seen catalogs in the boutiques, but I don't know what you're talking about, that catalog. So I told her, you have a WhatsApp account, and there is this WhatsApp business account wherein you can create your own catalog in less than 5 minutes, and you can sell your products right from there. So this kind of a digital empowerment or a technology empowerment is a must in today's era, because we are going towards the technology, and AI is influencing a lot in agriculture. Every step in agriculture, be it irrigation or pest management or whatever it is, digital technologies are there. So it is better if they know it, and also the technical know-how and training and support, non-availability of skilled labors, legal formalities, lack of quality control, and communication. Many are reluctant to speak up, many are reluctant to contact people, the right people, of course. And then market insight, they don't know what is going on in the industry, and many are not aware about the export opportunities available for the value added products. And the lack of storage and transportation facilities, and lack of promotional strategy, lack of infrastructural facilities, poor quality standards. These are few of the challenges that I have mentioned. More than this, there are so many other challenges, which each and every challenge should be addressed in the right way. I'm sure certain things can be quickly done, but certain challenges is going to take a lot of time. So let's move on to the next slide, the solution. So I'll take another 5 to 10 minutes to complete the PPT, then let us have a Q&A session. So the solution to empower women in the rural area or to promote entrepreneurship amongst the rural women is to invest in women. So all of us know the McKinsey Global Institute study, which says that by 2025, India's GDP may increase up to 18% over the business front, just by providing equal work opportunities for women. So we are not just helping them to kind of give them an opportunity, we will be able to enable them to start and scale their business as well. Next slide, ma'am. And then a lot of awareness has to be done on the government schemes. There are this Mudra scheme and PMMY, a lot of schemes are there, but then how aware are the rural entrepreneurs? I think so many times there are language barriers as well. So if there are people who can address the language barrier and help them understand with the visual of how the government scheme is going to help them, the entrepreneurs can really understand better, and they can also support the local entrepreneurs or their peers who are trying to avail government schemes. If there is a role model who has availed a government scheme from the government, we can have her as an example, and we can cause the ripple effect amongst the community. And then financial inclusion, it is very important, because we are trying to support women in terms of income generating livelihood activities, economic empowerment, and social mobility. So if women can save money, have access to credit, and if women can actually follow the digital way of banking and the use of digital technologies, and let's say, for example, simple thing, invoicing, right? So even the invoicing can be done online, and there are so many apps that are available that will simplify our job and will automate everything. So enabling them, I know a lot of companies recently have launched this digital MSME what do you call apps, so wherein they can do end to end everything on an app itself. So how women learn this digital technology is very important, because it's going to save their time and money and effort also, and they can focus on their core business. Let's say, for example, if someone is making beautiful artwork in their area, they can just focus more on the artwork and sell it globally through the ready-made e-commerce platforms, or through digital apps that help them create their own shop and instantly connect their bank account with the portal, and immediately they can start the sales, right? They have a bigger audience when they try digital technologies. And of course, as ma'am said, Padmaja ma'am said, a lot of training and capacity building must be there in order to do this financial inclusion. Next slide, ma'am. Yes, digital literacy is the key to empower women in rural areas. I think we have to, next slide, ma'am. We have to teach a lot of digital technologies in the way they understand, and also educate them about the pros and cons of using a digital technology. Ma'am, I think you haven't moved to the next slide. And then also the PPP model. So all of us know that public-private partnership model works well for rural women entrepreneurship. Ma'am, you can move on to the next slide. that PPP model also should be evaluated, and we should encourage a lot of people to partner with private organizations. Yes, ma'am. So a little bit of solutions are given. So let me quickly walk you through what Women Entrepreneurs India is and how we are supporting a lot of women. Next slide. So this Women Entrepreneurs India was founded in 2013 on 14th Feb. And this is like a mother-in-law and daughter-in-law managed organization. So I think that itself is a big, what I would say, it's a big thing. A lot of the time we don't even get to see mother-in-law, daughter-in-law being featured in a good way on the TV channels. But here we are setting a real-time example of running the business for about 11 years. And one of the reasons why WA is still sustaining is because of my mother-in-law. She won the state award and she has won a lot of other awards. She has published more than 20 books. And in fact, when Abdul Kalam was a president, he has given accolades to my mother-in-law. So I think this combination has helped me a lot. Because she is also a person who supports a lot of women and who really want women to excel. So I think I have found the best partner in my life to empower and create a big ecosystem for women in business. Next slide, ma'am. So I'm a first generation entrepreneur because I didn't have any knowledge in business, and I just started like that after marriage. And since then, I've been learning a lot and empowering a lot of women. Of course, we have been doing a free service, free mentoring service for more than thousands of women across India over the years. And next slide. So between 2008 and 2013, this slide is self-explanatory. Next slide. So since I am from the rural background, I too had a lot of personal challenges. I had low self-esteem and I had the fear of public speaking. I didn't have any idea of entrepreneurship. I had zero contact. But after understanding more about business and understanding how to become an empowered woman, I think since then till date, I've been feeling very confident. I have touched more than 150,000 people, and I've also got many international recognitions, and I now have a huge network. Next slide, ma'am. I'll quickly move on to the Q&A. There are only a few more slides to be done. So my entrepreneurial journey started in 2009, and the first business didn't work. And then I launched 2013, WA in 2013, because I felt that many entrepreneurs like me need support. They need education. They need to know how business works and how to create a sustainable business. So we had an international tie-up. And now currently we have, present in 2023, we are present in more than 30 plus cities, and we have very big network of women. Next slide, ma'am. Yeah, on March 2022, I was honored with this PSLV Memento by ISRO Propulsion Complex. There's a big story. Probably I'll share it later. I don't want to take much of the time now. So that was again a big opportunity, because starting a business from scratch, getting this recognition was a big achievement. And my portal is also ranking high since 2013. Out of crores of websites, we're on page 1. That's why we're able to get more number of women contact us without spending any money on the marketing efforts. Next slide. And Women Entrepreneurs India is the only social enterprise from India to be featured on the 2019 Asia Pacific Journal. That is an initiative of Cabinet Office of Japan. That is the Japan government. And of course, I was featured on the 2019 Asia Pacific Journal. So this term, feedback to feed forward. Ma'am, you can move on next slide. So can anyone here tell me what is feedback and what is feed forward? Feedback, of course, everyone must be knowing. So except Padmaja ma'am, others can answer, because Padmaja ma'am just interacted with me. So others, you tell me what is feedback, and if you know what is feed forward, you can also share that. Anyone?
Feedback serves as feed for the forward.
Sorry, ma'am. Feedback serves as
feed to move further.
Okay. Okay, like that. Okay. Anyone else? Feedback? See, I'll tell you what, I asked this question to a lot of corporate employees. I asked students, I asked a very big intellectual group. Everyone knew what feedback was, but then feed forward was something new to them. So let me tell you what a feed forward means. Let's say, for example, let's say, Madhavi ma'am, I'm going to use your name. Hope you don't mind. Dr. Madhavi, can I use your name to give an example? I think Madhavi ma'am is not answering. Padmaja ma'am, can I use your name to give an example?
Madam, you can take any.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. What was the question?
No, I just want to use your name to give an example.
Sure, no
And
problem. Go ahead. No
yeah,
problem.
thank you.
No problem.
Thank you so much. I think Madhavi ma'am is a little bit hesitant. That's okay. So let's say Padmaja ma'am and myself are there, and we are working in EEI. Okay, so we are working in EEI, and I am a person. Let's assume that both of us are working. Okay, Padmaja ma'am and Mahalakshmi ma'am are working in EEI, and I come late every day. Okay, so director, I don't know like whether you have some kind of a tracking system or not. Let's say there's a tracking system and I come late every day to EEI and
Excuse me, ma'am. 1 second. Friends, please mute your audios. Please mute your audios. There's somebody by email. Technical team, can you please mute their audio? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
Yes, ma'am.
So let's say, so let's say I come late to, the job every day, and Padmaja ma'am comes on time to EEI. Okay, so if, madam, if you have to give the feedback, what will you tell me? So I'm coming late to EEI. Okay, so now you have to give me the feedback. So what will you tell? I just want maybe let's say director is there, and if you would want to give me a feedback, okay, what advice would you give me?
Is the question for Dr. Padmaja?
No, it's for you only. Sorry, I didn't mention your name. It's for you. Let's say you are now the director of EA. Let's say you are the director, and Padmaja
Okay.
ma'am comes on time, and I come late to EEI. Okay, so what would you tell me? Let's say in case of feedback.
Okay, I can say Dr. Padmaja is very academically oriented, and she's very keen on coming to office on time, and I think everybody should emulate her.
Absolutely. I think this is a very solid answer for feed forward. So the way you told, it is not negatively impacting me. You never asked me, don't come late, come early tomorrow, right? You told that Padmaja ma'am is an example. She comes on time. So emulate Padmaja ma'am. This is an exact way of explaining how feed forward is. If we are able to give this sort of a feed forward to all the women there, they would definitely take it in a positive sense, and we could see a lot of role models coming up. Thank you, ma'am, for the wonderful answer. So I think we have to give a big round of applause to ma'am for, many didn't answer, but you had given a solid example. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next slide. So of course, so I would be launching this book, MS from Broken to Come Back, on 24th October 2024. And so never give up on a dream, even if the progress is slow. That's a quote that I wrote. So we are done with the PPT. I'm open to Q&A. I think we will have quite interesting questions from the enterprising individuals of EEI. I'm looking forward to all the questions. And thank you for the opportunity, ma'am, and team EEI.
Thank you.
So let's go ahead with the questions. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Mahalakshmi.
So any questions pertaining to women entrepreneurship would be good, because I haven't been more into the rural entrepreneurship side, because we cater to both rural and urban. But then there are some challenges, I would say, because we couldn't do a lot of activities in rural areas. We have been targeting more of tier 2 and tier 1 areas only. So maybe questions pertaining to that will be really good.
Yeah, thank you.
Ma'am, you can stop the screen, the PPT.
Yeah, Chitra, can you please close the PPT? Please stop sharing. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. It's closed now. So I would be happy to answer your queries if I know them.
Yeah, let me just ask our participants, friends, since you've been listening to Ms. Mahalakshmi's session for the past, say, 25 to 30 minutes, I would be very happy if you can throw some questions, because she's been into entrepreneurship for 13 extensive years, and she's been meeting so many entrepreneurs in rural and urban areas. And since she's here to answer our questions, I'll be happy if any one of you can come forward and ask questions. Please, the questions platform is open for discussion. Need to
Yes,
get.
good morning.
Yeah, good
Am I
morning.
audible?
Yes, yes.
I'm
you're
Good morning.
Jyoti. Yes, I'm very happy. Miss Mahalakshmi Saravanan, she came out from scratch, and now she is into guiding many of the rural women also. I have a small question whether we come across many rural women coming out for this preparation of post-harvest products also, but like what she said, they don't know where to market and how to get it escalated into the market. So, will there be any chance of she giving an online training or such thing when we organize here, so that she can give this guidance to these rural people?
I would be more than happy, ma'am. This could be done online also if your group of women, the rural entrepreneurs are there. Only thing will be the language barrier. If they are comfortable in English, I mean, maybe I don't know, like Tamil, a bit of Hindi, and English is okay, but there might be
No problem.
language barriers, ma'am. If there are no,
Yeah, maybe, but your tempo is more needed. Your encouragement is very fine. We are here want to know that people like you have come forward to pull them up. So you yourself have become an icon now, and you can be an example for them. So we can just
definitely,
show
ma'am.
you and
I would do that.
like right. Thank you
Yeah, I
so
would be
much.
more than happy to do that because we are not actually using the advantage of technology. How many businesses are automated now when we talk about rural businesses, right? So we have to know which technology to use in order to automate the business, which tool to use in order to save time, and how AI is helping in agriculture, in dairy farming, and livestock, whatever it is. So we have to kind of quickly, maybe through visuals or through real-time sessions, we can actually educate them. And I think there must be a session on cyber security also, because it's quite important to know when they are into technology. They should know
Yes,
how
when they start
they
on
have to safely
itself,
handle their
they
apps.
have to know this cyber security. Yes, it's also needed. So what I mean, all those types of entrepreneurs you have addressed until now, and what I mean, few success stories of them and how they got forward, and those can be given examples for these people. They are just in a budding stage and they have that zeal, but they don't know where to go and how to tackle it. So that's what we wanted. Thank you so much for your kind cooperation. We will call back on you personally.
Thank you, ma'am. One more thing I would like
Thank
to
you.
share with you is that, see, in 2013 or 2015, when I started the business, when people came to me, at that time, none of the entrepreneurs, I mean, majority of the entrepreneurs didn't have a bank account. And many entrepreneurs were running businesses for a long time, but then they didn't have anything, any proof in the bank, which means they were using the money just to kind of, buy raw material and do the marketing. They never actually put the money in the bank. The same problem is still there. I could see that though some entrepreneurs have learned how they have to open a current account and have to put their money there, which would help them in availing schemes or loans from the government. Many are not actually doing that. Why is that? People are reluctant to open a current account and put the money there and use it better way. I think more of financial literacy should be done as well, so that many know the importance of opening a current account and getting a GST, which will help them, do international business, and of course, business across India. They should definitely learn all these things, ma'am. So financial literacy, digital literacy, and legal literacy is also important, because most of the times people don't know how important a contract is, how important one has to kind of draft the legal terms and get things ready. These terms we have to educate them.
Yes. It's actually you have given one slide previously. What are the lacunas where they are not able to come forward? So that shows
Yeah.
all the gist there. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And above all, I think creativity, innovation must be there. It should come from within. People have to be creative in the way they make the product, in the way they package the product, in the way they brand the particular product. Branding is very important, which not many people are aware of. And personal branding is equally important. So for which they have to become empowered and empower others.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Any more questions? I would like all of you to please come on video mode. We would like to screenshot group photo. Technical team, please put us into the group photo mode. Technical team.
వస్తుందా మేడం?
లేదు సార్, ఒక పెద్ద స్లైడ్ వస్తుంది, అది రావట్లేదు. ఇదే పెద్ద స్క్రీన్ అంతా ఇది కనిపిస్తుంది, అది తీసేసి మనకి గ్రూప్ ఫోటో మోడ్ లో పెట్టండి. I request all the participants to please come on video mode. We would like to have a screenshot of group photo. Others, please come on the video mode. Dr. Madhavi. There's another Padmaja, P. Padmaja. Then we have Director Atma AP. Somebody with Diary Extension Service name. K. Lakshmi Devi, Tulsi, Sunanda, Bhaskaraya, P. Devi. Yeah. Technical team, have you taken the group photo? Have you taken the screenshot?
1 minute, madam. 1 minute.
Yeah.
Let others also, please.
Others,
Switch on
please
your
switch on
video.
your videos. Punyavati madam. P. Chaudhary, Padmaja, P. Padmaja, K. Lakshmi Devi, Sunanda.
Mahalakshmi ma'am, please switch on your video.
She has an issue with her
Acha,
camera.
okay. Network issue.
Sri Devi, Madhavi, Sir Raju sir, Tisara.
Okay, madam.
Okay. Thank you, friends, for all those who have come on video mode and enabled us to take our group photo. Thank you very much. Now, to keep the webinar to move forward, I ask our Director EI to please give his concluding remarks.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Preeti. I thank first our today's speakers who have delivered an informative, impressive content with regard to the cultivating the change through bridging socio-economic and technological gaps for women in rural India by Dr. Padmaja Rahula, Principal Scientist at Kisan, has really opened our thinking horizons. What are the ways and means? How we can follow the pathways to wipe out these so-called barriers which are really hindering the empowerment of the woman. As ma'am is rightly told, this is the International Year of Millets and the theme is empowering millets, empowering women and promoting nutrition security. The session has thrown the light on how the women can contribute immensely for the nutrition security, not only at the local, national, as well as even at a global level. Being a scientist working at ICRISAT, she has the chance to tour various international institutions and global level organizations. That is reflecting in our presentation. And it has given a sense of understanding that definitely women acts as a change agents. If we don't empower women in the direction of bringing the change in those domains, definitely we may not see the transformation, not only bringing the nutrition security, as someone as I think Poonam ma'am has rightly told, even food security. What the globe is facing now. We are witnessing how the conflicts are being engulfed throughout the different regions of the globe. And we are seeing for the last 1 week how the war is happening between. It has started in a small scale between two countries. Now, the world leaders are thinking it may take in different turns. We don't know how many countries may rope into that. And it may not stop. The prediction is that it may not stop at this moment. It may go beyond that. That's why food security is more important. And women, the role is clearly specified by Padmaja ma'am, how they can contribute in the direction of giving food and nutrition security. And the second one is rural entrepreneurship in India. And it also thrown the light how the woman can be a catalyst for bringing the change. By Mahalakshmi Sharvanan ma'am, it has given enough food for thought, and she has placed before us different kinds of literacy woman is required. Nowadays, not only the basic literacy, but literacy in terms of legal aspects, economic aspects, different kinds of learning, the logistics protocols to be followed in various platforms. So to make them more decision-making empowered stakeholders in the society. That's what we could able to sense from our session. And ultimately, they should become the entrepreneurs. Already we are witnessing, so there is enough number of success stories are being surfaced at various levels. Women not only acting as an entrepreneurs, but they are acting as a role models, even for the entire locality where they are getting success. So in the direction, these two sessions have elevated our webinar on Mahila Kisan Diwas 2023, which has been organized by EI Hyderabad. Thank you, ma'am, Padmaja ma'am, as well as Mahalakshmi ma'am, for giving your valuable time and sparing your services, efforts in delivering these sessions for the benefit of the participants of our client states and departments. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for doing the customary concluding remarks. Thank you so much. Friends and respected speakers, we now move on to the closing of the webinar. To do this, I will propose the formal vote of thanks. Friends, it is customary to thank all those who are associated with the conduct of this webinar. To start with, EI would like to thank the Ministry of Agriculture, Government of India for extending the financial support as well as the infrastructural logistics to conduct these informative webinars. We now thank Dr. Manish Bhatia, Director Administration, Dr. Sanjay Kalikar, Joint Director Extension, and Dr. Poonam Tiwari, Joint Director, National Gender Resource Center from Ministry of Agriculture and Ministry of Agriculture, Government of India, for coming and joining on this webinar and giving the much needed introductory remarks in celebrating the Mahila Kisan Diwas 2023. We now profusely thank the first speaker of the webinar, Dr. Padmaja, for taking us through a landscape of gender gaps, triple burden of women, rural gender disparities, and the millet women journey. Thank you, ma'am, for your very thought-provoking session. We immensely thank our second speaker, Ms. Mahalakshmi Sarvanan, for enlightening us on the rural entrepreneurship, the challenges faced by women, the technological challenge, which is the most important one, and the need for other facilities like storage, value addition, and marketing, and also the means to address them. Thank you, ma'am. We now thank our director, Dr. M. Jagan Mohan Reddy, for his continuous guidance and torch-bearing attitude in organizing this webinar. We thank the technical team of EI for doing the online logistics and taking care of the webinar in process. We thank the faculty and staff of EI for their backhand support in organizing this webinar. Last but not least, we thank each and every one of the participants who have taken their time out in joining this webinar and trying to be proactive in asking questions and also sharing their experiences. Thank you, one and all. We announce the closure of this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you to all.